The Indiana Toll Road, officially the Indiana East-to-West Toll Road, is a toll road that runs for 156.28 miles east-to-west across northern Indiana from the Illinois state line to the Ohio state line. It has been advertised as the Main Street of the Midwest. The entire toll road is designated as part of Interstate 90, and the segment from Lake Station east to the Ohio state line is a concurrency with Interstate 80. The toll road is owned by the Indiana Finance Authority and operated by the Indiana Toll Road Concession Company, which is owned by IFM Investors. Route description: the Indiana Toll Road is part of the U.S. interstate highway system which runs 156.28 miles through Indiana connecting the Chicago Skyway to the Ohio Turnpike. The toll road is signed with the following route numbers: Interstate 80, after having run concurrently with I-94 from the Illinois state line to toll road exit 21 Lake Station, is part of the toll road from there to the Ohio state line. I-90 runs the entire length of the 157 miles toll road, from the Illinois state line to the Ohio state line. Facts equals. Exit points are based on the milepost system, with exits starting at 0 at the Illinois state line, and increasing to exit 153 at the East Point toll barrier near the Ohio state line. The toll road opened in 1956 with sequential exit numbering, which was converted to the current mileage-based scheme in 1981. The original number sequence was amended slightly in 1964 with the opening of the then Burns Harbor, now Lake Station exit. The farthest it gets from the Michigan state line or Lake Michigan is about 10 miles. Although it never actually enters Michigan, the toll road lies within 10 miles of the Michigan state line between LaPorte, Indiana and the Ohio state line. Looking north at exit 121 allows one to see the Welcome to Michigan sign in the distance. At one point in northern Indiana, in Greenfield Township in LaGrange County at approximately mile 129.4, the toll road comes within about 200 yards, or 0.1 miles, from the Michigan border. Controlled cities on guide signs are Chicago and Ohio. Originally they were Chicago and West, and Ohio and East. In December 2006, ITR Concession Company announced that a South Bend student, Andrea Herbster, will receive $5,000 toward her educational expenses for being selected as the grand prize winner of the Indiana Toll Road Logo Design Contest. The new ITRCC logo rollout occurred in the spring of 2007. History: the Indiana Toll Road was publicly financed and constructed during the 1950s. It opened in stages, east to west, between August and November 1956. The formal dedication ceremony was held on September 17, 1956. The final course of the toll road was the northern of four planned alignments. In addition to the East-to-West toll road, a North-to-South toll road was planned, roughly along the path of today's I-65, but the plan was dropped after the Federal Aid Highway Act of 1956 was passed. Originally the I-94 designation was applied to the highway west of where the current interchange with I-94 was eventually built, with I-90 following I-80 to the west along the Borman Expressway as I-94 does now, the completed portions of the Borman being designated as I-80, I-90, and I-294. The current arrangement was applied around 1965, to avoid confusion, and as a result, a stretch of I-94 is actually farther south than I-90, and I-90 runs the entire length of the Indiana Toll Road. Several interchanges on the toll road were constructed between 1980 and 1985 as part of a bond sale in October 1980. Similar to the Chicago Skyway transaction in 2004, on June 29, 2006, Indiana received $3.8 billion in an auction from a consortium made up of the Spanish construction firm Sintra and the Macquarie Atlas Roads of Australia in exchange for the right to maintain, operate and collect tolls for the following 75 years. The two companies formed the Indiana Toll Road Concession Company to operate the road. Goldman Sachs & Company was reported to have earned some $20 million in fees for putting together the ITR transaction. Mark Florian, who worked on both toll road deals, was subsequently named third-in-charge and chief operating officer of a newly structured municipal finance and infrastructure group at Goldman. Florian was to move from Chicago to the New York office. Operation The Indiana Toll Road Commission operated the toll road from its inception until 1981. The Indiana Department of Transportation operated the toll road between 1981 and 2006. On April 1, 1983, the state of Indiana established the Indiana Toll Finance Authority, renamed the Indiana Transportation Finance Authority in April 1988, and renamed the Indiana Finance Authority in May 2005 after consolidation with several other state financial agencies. From its inception in 1983, the Indiana Finance Authority has maintained ownership of the toll road, while its operations and maintenance has evolved over time, starting with the Indiana Department of Transportation until 2006 before transitioning to the Indiana Toll Road Concession Company. The Cintra-Macquarie joint venture assumed operation of the toll road from INDOT on June 30, 2006, after the Indiana Supreme Court dismissed a legal challenge by opponents attempting to derail the deal following the failure of the opponents to post a bond. The same partnership had acquired a 99-year lease on the adjoining Chicago's Skyway in Illinois in 2004. The operator of the road filed for bankruptcy in September 2014, citing lower than projected traffic volumes and revenues. Major Moves is the name of a plan conceived by Governor Mitch Daniels to lease the toll road for 75 years to an Australian-Spanish consortium for an upfront payment of $3.8 billion. Part of the proceeds will fund a portion of the planned extension of I-69 through southwestern Indiana. Legislation. Regarding the legislation, Daniels said, "You're either for this bill or you're against our future," at a State House rally in Indianapolis on February 28, 2006. Specifically, the legislation authorizes the governor to establish a similar public-private partnership agreement for design, construction, and operation of the proposed Southern Indiana Toll Road, which would make up 117 miles of the planned 142-mile extension of I-69 from Indianapolis to Evansville. On November 9, 2006, Daniels announced that the I-69 extension would not be tolled. He abandoned the idea of building the I-69/SITR for two reasons. While there is substantial bipartisan support for building I-69, constructing it as a toll road proved to be widely unpopular. More significantly, several firms interested in the SITR deal determined that a toll road through southwest Indiana was not economically feasible at the present time. In lieu of the SITR, I-69 will be built using $700 million of the Major Moves payout for the section from I-64/I-164 to Crane Naval Surface Warfare Center. It is expected that the remaining half of the I-69 extension from Crane to Indianapolis will be built using traditional federal state highway funds. Distribution of Major Moves funding. On September 15, 2006, funds were distributed by an electronic wire transfer to the 7 counties through which the toll road runs. The list below details each county's total share in the Major Moves money. Some of the funds from each county's distribution was diverted to each city or town within the country. Each county auditor will be responsible for distributing a portion of the money to each city and town. Elkhart County, $40 million, LaGrange County, $40 million, Lake County, $15 million, LaPorte County, $40 million, Porter County, $40 million, Steuben County, $40 million, St. Joseph County, $40 million. Opposition to Major Moves. Opponents of the legislation filed a lawsuit in St. Joseph County in late April 2006. Following roughly 2 weeks of arguments, Judge Michael Scopolitis ruled in favor of the state of Indiana, declaring the lawsuit brought by opponents a public lawsuit, thus requiring the plaintiffs to post a bond of $1.9 billion for the case to proceed. In response, plaintiffs appealed Scopolitis' ruling to the Indiana Supreme Court, which on June 20, 2006, in a 4-0 decision, upheld Judge Scopolitis' earlier decision, paving the way for the deal to lease the Indiana Toll Road to proceed as scheduled on June 30, 2006. The Libertarian Party of LaPorte County opposed major moves quite vocally, proclaiming that pirates have returned to the shores of Lake Michigan in a news release. The toll road passes through LaPorte County and also has 2 toll gates in that county. Elected officials and candidates for office in many toll road counties expressed concerns that the share of funds being allocated to projects in and around Indianapolis was too great. "This is another time where they're taking resources we use to develop our part of the state and taking them down to Indianapolis," said Representative Scott Pelath. "We've always felt like it's Indianapolis versus the rest of the state," said Representative Robert Kuzman. "So far, Indianapolis is winning this battle." Indiana House Democratic leader Pat Bauer of South Bend issued a written statement the day before funding was distributed to the counties mocking major moves. A year only now that the deal is done, the governor and officials in his administration have traveled the state to claim that the sale has financed every major road project scheduled over the next decade, Bauer said. Only the fact is that most of these projects already were on course to be completed, without any assistance from the sale of the toll road. Tolls, between the West Point Barrier Toll, near the Illinois state line, and the Portage Barrier at milepost 24, tolls are collected by fixed-amount tolls at exit and entrance ramps. Between the Portage Barrier, east to the East Point Barrier Toll, near the Ohio state line, it is operated as a closed-ticket system toll road, where one receives a ticket upon entering and pays a pre-calculated amount based on distance traveled when exiting. Standard passenger cars are charged a toll of $4.15 for IZOOM users and $8.10 cash along the section from Portage to East Point, with an extra 50 cents for IZOOM users and $1.90 cash at the West Point Barrier. Originally the entire toll road was on a closed ticket system, with West Point at current exit 5, roughly under the East 141st Street overpass. This changed after the Indiana Department of Transportation takeover in 1981. Effective June 25, 2007, the Indiana Toll Road began electronic toll collection with the IZOOM system. IZOOM is fully compatible with the EZPASS and IPASS electronic toll collection systems. Indiana became the 12th state to use the EZPASS system. The IZOOM brand name was retired starting in September 2012. The etc. system has been rebranded as EZPASS instead, in an effort to aid out-of-state motorists who may not be familiar with the IZOOM brand. For toll rates, with and without EZPASS, for various types of vehicles see, http://www.ispasin.com. Service areas, like all other toll highways built in the 1950s, the Indiana Toll Road has had service areas since its opening. Originally, there were 8 pairs of travel plazas located approximately every 18 miles. Of these, 5 featured sit-down restaurants operated by Hosts International while the other 3 had only snack bars. Each travel plaza was named after a prominent Indiana native or resident. Gasoline and other auto services were available at all travel plazas. Originally, various oil companies including Standard Oil, Sinclair, Pure, Gulf, Texaco and Citgo operated each of the travel plazas. Later, Standard Oil, later Amoco and now BP, assumed operations at all travel plazas. Currently BP operates the 3 western travel plazas while Mobil operates the 2 easternmost pairs. The westernmost snack bar at milepost 37.5 remained open until the mid-70s and is now used as a truck-only parking rest area with no facilities. The other 2 at mileposts 72.9 and 108 were closed in 1972, although the one at 108 was also converted into a truck parking area without facilities. All were demolished except for one, the former Benjamin Harrison Snack Bar on the eastbound side at milepost 72.9. It presently serves as a state police station and has no public facilities. The restaurant interiors were remodeled into short-order cafeterias in the late 1970s when Gladder Food Services took over operations and have since been remodeled once again for fast food service. However, the original buildings remain relatively unchanged from the outside. On June 17, 2015, Ken Daly, the new CEO of the Indiana Toll Road Concession Company, announced that all of the original 1955 travel plazas will be demolished and replaced within the next 5 years. As of October 2015, the Booth-Tarkington service area, the easternmost in Indiana, was permanently closed. Future. Part of the agreement to privatize operations of the Indiana Toll Road is to invest $600 million in the ITR during the first 9 years of the lease. This is above and beyond the $3.8 billion being invested by the state of Indiana in major moves projects. More than $300 million has already been invested in improving the Indiana Toll Road. Some examples include, third lane expansion project at $250 million. Electronic toll collection at $40 million. And toll plaza expansions at $9 million total. Included in the plans is adding a third lane in each direction in the most congested area of the Indiana Toll Road, from MP10 to Euro 15.5. The third lane expansion was completed in December 2011. The 10-year Bridge Capital Improvement Plan is also underway, which will repair and rehabilitate nearly every structure on the ITR over the next 10 years. The lease agreement also requires ITRCC to maintain or improve the condition of the toll road to standards set forth by state and federal law. Exit list. See also: Illinois State Toll Highway Authority, New York Thruway, Pennsylvania Turnpike. References. External links. Indiana Toll Road, Indiana Toll Road photos. roadfarm.com. Includes a 1954 photograph of the toll road under construction. Rate, Betsy. City for sale. Need to know. PBS. ITR, Chicago, Indianapolis, Harrisburg and other public entities' experiences with privatization, in a national context.